If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how is it going? Ches back again, and welcome to episode number 6 of the Career Mode RTG. Here, the return to glory, of course, with Nottingham Forest. Now, we started our championship campaign yesterday, getting off to a decent start actually, and we picked up a decent result as well in the Capital One Cup against Bolton. If you missed yesterday's episode, then there's a link as an annotation in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, or obviously feel free to check the channel page itself for it, or any of the other videos you may have missed over the past few days. Starting a very strong side though, new signing Renato Sanchez starts for the first time at centre mid. As you can see, Sam Byram as well starts on the right hand side of midfield rather than playing him at right back. Eric Lehigh starts at right back, who is going to be my number one player on the right hand side of my defensive unit, but I would like Sam Byram really to play a part in both right mid and right back. Unfortunately though, they go off to a brilliant start with Gary Hooper just picking up the pieces after the defenders just ran into each other there more so than anything else. But it was a wonderful strike from Gary Hooper. We'll see a couple of replays of it. Cleared here, chested down by the defender, and then they just kind of run into each other. It bounces off both of them. But what technique from Gary Hooper to keep that down, rifle it in off the far post. I don't know what the defenders were doing. It was laughable really. Michael Mancini just ran into the other guy, but a smashing finish from Gary Hooper, it really was. Sam Byram doing the work on the right hand side, despite being at right mid, still doing some defensive duty in the midfield. Ebesilio plays it around the corner here to Assombalonga. He wasn't offside. The linesman had just been stood there waving his flag for the entirety of that move for no apparent reason. I don't know why he was doing that. He just didn't move from the moment that Sam Byram was out there on the right hand side tackling the Sheffield Wednesday midfielder. Into the second half we go though. Nelson Oliveira into Assombalonga, and good strength actually to shove off the attentions of the defender. Here's Byram now in an attacking position, turns his side really nicely, and he's going to drill it towards Mendes, who draws a ridiculously good save out of Kieran Westwood. Mendes is obviously on loan from Lille, but having a decent time of things out on the left-hand side for us in the first team, so I'm interested in perhaps signing him permanently once this season comes to a close. We'll have to wait and see how he progresses throughout the year, but Sam Byram, after creating the chance that led to the corner, then had the resulting opportunity from the set piece, but sadly couldn't get his header on target. Neither could Sanchez. Renato Sanchez with the shot from just outside the box on his left-hand side, tried to kind of get it to go across goal and wanted it to dip in that far corner, but unluckily for him, it didn't want to do any such thing, so we made a couple of changes and Sanchez actually went off, as did Mendes. Ali Adnan and Chris Cohen coming onto the pitch for the two of them, and this is effectively straight from that substitution, I think, or not long afterwards at least. Here's Ebesilio in the middle, trying to thread it through towards Assombalonga. Great turn around the outside, the defender. Always fancy Britt Assombalonga there in a situation like that to fire it into the back of the net. That brings us back on level terms at 1-1 after 73/74 minutes or so. Really nice turn. It was the acceleration. Good touch high at Ebesilio to turn it back through to Assombalonga. The first touch to take it in his stride, the burst of acceleration to get away, and a deadly finish on the end to make it 1-1. Now all we need to do is go and get ourselves in front, don't we? But we need to make sure that Sheffield United don't score at the other end, which is exactly what we're doing, picking them off as they try and attack. Nice ball by Chris Cohen into fellow substitute Ali Adnan. He's going to go on a really nice run actually down towards the byline, then try and stand it back up into the middle. Chris Cohen, the elongated 1-2, he's on his own 8 yards out, and he could not have shanked that anymore. Right in the middle of the goal, and look how far wide it actually was by the time it crossed the goal line or byline. Ridiculous, about 4 yards wide. How can you miss that badly from that position when you're on your own? I couldn't believe it. Nelson Oliveira dances inside here. Really nice run. Good shot. Well saved again by Kieran Westwood, proving to be still as good a keeper as he was when he was playing at Sunderland. Why he has had to drop as low as a mid-table championship side, I've absolutely no idea. I highly rate Kieran Westwood as a goalkeeper personally, but clearly the footballing world doesn't agree. Sam Byram takes the corner this time after obviously having a decent effort with a header earlier on from a corner, and he draws a good almost assist, a good ball into the box, but unfortunately the header from his corner comes back off the inside the post and then was acrobatically cleared by the defender. So we stay at 1-1. We stayed at 1-1. We pick up a point from that game against Sheffield Wednesday. We're trying to move on David Vaughan, obviously. We're just straight up accepting that deal from Bolton as it comes in. Don't want David Vaughan at the club anymore. We've got too many central midfielders as it is, and we want to move on some of the ageing players, shall we say. But 2 players going up in rating already here. As you can see, that's actually the second time Tyler Walker's gone up in a rating, and Boscali is so close to going up to 70 overall as well. Won't be long before the entirety of our squad really starts to benefit from this training module. We'll jump into the second game of the episode, though, at home this time against Brentford. Again, in the Championship, the next game in the Capital One Cup comes up in the next episode, I think. If I remember my calendar correctly. It was a very busy schedule in in September actually. No, it's August, isn't it? We're still in the transfer window. What we're talking about? We're playing almost every single Saturday and Tuesday in this month, so it's going to be quite difficult on the squad, but we're starting a decent side here against Brentford. They're a side that I don't really know. They've threatened to get out of League One a few times in previous years, and were eventually able to do it, and were quite competitive in the Championship when they made their way up, but haven't necessarily been able to make the extra step to the Premier League for a size of their club, similar to how Bournemouth actually have been able to do so. But we're just putting men behind the ball here when they eventually have the final chance that flies high and wide. Sam Byron was actually playing at right back for this one, and I brought in Chris Burke back again on the right hand side of midfield. Tyler Walker up top with Maxwell Cornet, who again, like we said in the last episode, scored for us and scored for Lyon in real life as well on the same day. So it was pretty good from him, hoping he could replicate that sort of form for us in this game against Brentford. We're currently 0-0 for now. Here's Bidwell down the left, not the best of defending from Kelvin Wilson or from myself, but he does recover to try and put in an attempted tackle, but apparently that was a foul. Not really too sure why, but it was just a physical challenge. Didn't get the ball regardless, and a decent shot that was brilliantly well saved actually by Doris Therese. Down to his right hand side. Unfortunately though, as you can see, halfway through the game, Maxwell Cornet had to leave the field injured, so we brought Nelson Oliveira on, and we brought on Robert Tess as well in the midfield. We're in the 73rd minute now, as you can see. It was an awkward fall from Cornet, and we'll see at the end of the game how long he's going to be out for, but tried to dance past the man. It just got tripped up, and then I think he twisted his ankle on his way down. I'm not entirely too sure, but Ali Adnan's going to take a free kick here, about 30 yards out or so. He's not got the best of free kick stats, despite the Roberto Carlos style run-up, but we'll try and work something from a free kick rather than shooting from that angle. Get it back in towards the box. Good touch and turn by Chris Burke here. And that's a similar sort of touch and turn to Britta Sombolonga's goal in the previous game, although this one was much more well placed. It was more of an accurate shot than just an absolute blaster that Sombolonga put away in the previous game. But it still ended up in the back of the net regardless, and we will take it. We are 1-0 up now with 5 minutes to go. Williams came off the bench. Jonathan Williams obviously on loan from Crystal Palace. Throws it into Tyler Walker. I don't know how that hasn't ended up in the back of the net. How David Button has kept it out in the first place is beyond me. Brilliant reaction save. Just hits him on the elbow. It comes back off the post, and then the defender ran into the loose ball and almost knocked it into his own net. Luckily for him, it went the right side of the post as far as he was concerned, and out for a corner rather than for a goal. But as you can see, Maxwell Cornet is going to be out with a sprained ankle for 4 weeks, sadly. Chris Cohen did pick up a bruised shoulder, but he's only going to be out for 5 days, so he'll be back and available for selection sooner rather than later. And confirmation that David Vaughan has been sold to Bolton Wanderers for £300,000. So we'll take the extra little bit of budget into our transfer kitty, and we'll push forward into the remainder of the window. Still trying to move on a couple of extra players before we potentially think about bringing in anyone else. We have to play Hull again now, as you can see in the Capital One Cup there. And it's just a ridiculously busy month in August. It really is. It's crazy, really, that we start off so congested, but you have to take it in your stride. We'll do our absolute best to maintain a decent start to the season. 2 wins and a draw so far in the league, and we sit third behind Burnley and Middlesbrough. All 3 of those top teams will be, you'd like to think, there or thereabouts towards the end of the season. Hull City, you'd like to, or you would have thought, would be near the top, but they're actually in the bottom 6. We beat them on the opening day, of course, and they clearly haven't recovered from that so far. And we've got them in the Cup coming up. They've got a very strong squad, Hull, and they gave us a run for money. It was not an easy game against them at all. Leeds down in 17th. You would expect them and Reading perhaps to put together a run of form to get themselves back towards the top 6 or so. But that's going to be all for today's episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please do continue to give me your transfer suggestions in the comment section down below, where you think we could look to improve this particular squad with around about the £4 to £5 million we've got left currently, although we do have a couple of players still to move on, although apparently nobody wants to buy Matty Fry or Danny Fox, so we may be stuck with them unless we use them in part of a deal to bring someone else in. But we already have a lot of numbers, so I'm unsure whether I want to wait until January and maybe see how we get on between now and then, when we have a better kind of outlook as to what the season is going to be like. You know, who's performed well over a consistent period of time and who hasn't performed well over a period of time. But anyway, that's going to be all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. Check the channel page for anything you may have missed over the past few days. All the links to social media are in the description down below. You can see them on your screen as well. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch, of course, as well. And a link to the No Identity merchandise store if you want yourself a t-shirt for Christmas. But for now, I will see you next time.